So we are waiting for Mr. Schuler. Hola, hello.
Hey,
Good
hello,
to see you,
Arthur.
my friends. Hey, you're looking fabulous.
I'm pretty good after 120 days here in confinement. Still doing good because drinking some good Pisco.
That's absolutely the point. So 120 days you're in confinement now?
Yes, it's still here. Confinement stopped in Peru yesterday
Okay.
for the first time. But I am of the age that we're very vulnerable.
I know.
So, and infections in Peru are still not under control. So I
Okay.
made my office over here. So I work every day from here. I don't go to Lima. I don't get out of
Yeah.
here. I'm at the beach, really. It's about 100 kilometers south of Lima. A beautiful, beautiful community. It's called Asia.
Hmm.
There's about 20 condominiums here on the ocean. Really very nice. Nobody here. I think
Hmm.
very few people, very little people. Supermarket, very big, just about 1 kilometer away from here. So we have all the conveniences and then protection, right? No contact with people, and so it's good. Good.
You say no
Kind
contact
of
with people
very
and it's
quiet,
good?
boring. So you have to invent things to do because all you do out here is eat and drink.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Eat and drink and be merry.
Yeah. How are you?
Okay,
Good?
I'm fine. I not had 120 days, but only had about 101 days confinement. And
Yeah.
since last week, I'm on tour again. But
Good.
you see, after confinement, there's quite a steep curve. It's going up again. So we went
Yeah.
from 8, 10 cases in the whole country back again up to around 60 cases within 24 hours. So
Yeah.
let's see what
Terrible.
happens.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be the
Complicated.
topic. That shouldn't be the
That's
topic.
not the
So,
conversation.
my friend, I mean, you're well known almost everywhere as Mr. Pisco, Johnny. Obviously, Europeans don't know you as well as the South Americans. A very short introduction about yourself.
Well, Arthur, uh, I am CEO of Destilería La Caravedo, which is beautiful, beautiful, modern. We built it in 2010.
Yep.
We bought this beautiful property. It's very historic. It is a national monument. The still is a national monument, all right? Because it dates from 1684,
Really?
producing
Okay.
Pisco, 1684. So we sort of claim that we are the oldest working distillery, continuously working distillery in the American continent.
Wow.
Documented, we have the papers, we have the bill of sale of the 14th of October of 1684 from where Mr. Caravedo buys the property, and he is paid with aguardiente, pisco,
Hmm.
raisins, and grapes.
Cool. But
So I am the CEO of the company. We also own about 100 hectares of vineyards, of which 57 are planted with 5 of the 8 varieties that are allowed by the norm.
okay.
And also, I'm in the restaurant business. I fully own 1 restaurant, and I participate in 2, now 3 others. Right? My main core of business is catering. I do feeding for mines up in the Andes. That's my main core business. I did it for oil companies for many, many years. Now I've reduced because pretty much all my work has to deal with Pisco Porton and Pisco La Caravedo, the vineyards and the distillery, which I enjoy very much for
Absolutely.
tasting and drinking. I'm also the master distiller and, everything else.
But you definitely had a life before La Caravedo and Pisco Porton. And I know you've been in Pisco before you took over the distillery.
Arthur, I had a TV program on the air every Saturday night at 7:30 at night for 1 hour for 8 years on the air, talking about Pisco, imagine.
Wow.
8 years on the air. So very cool. And I've
Sounds
written three
fabulous.
books on Pisco. And I've traveled all over the world, all over the world. Well, with you, we've been pretty much all over.
Quite
All
some
over.
countries. Quite some countries.
Yeah. And I am for many years, for the last, I would say, 20 years before starting Porton, La Caravedo in 2009, I was Pisco's, Peru's promoter of Pisco, also traveling all over the world, giving lectures, making tastings, interviews, television programs in Europe, in the United States, in Japan, and all over. And so, very, very happy, very, very much into Pisco. I formed the
Seems to be an outage. Let's see if he's getting back. You seem to be breaking up. Okay, we are going to reconnect. Hopefully he's back with us in a second.
kilometers.
Don't worry, that's all okay. You've been away for a second, so the internet line seems to be a little bit scrambled. Yes, we can. Now I can hear you again. Can you hear me? Johnny, can you hear me? Okay. I mean, how much do you miss traveling, Johnny? Yes, I can hear you now. Okay, I see. How likely is it that we see us in?
I can't hear you.
Okay. How likely is it that we see us this autumn in Brussels?
Excuse me?
How likely is it that we see us in Brussels?
I can hear you.
I think best is we try again. We stop this call and I initiate a new one. There we go.
God damn it. Hey, Rum Soldier, New
Okay.
York.
Well, it's
London.
always a little bit scrambled. You're coming to Europe this year? Anything planned?
Yes, we're working very hard. Well, we managed to finish, in spite of the pandemic, we managed to finish the harvest, and we're finishing distillation right now. It was difficult because in March 15th, when the pandemic hit here, March 13th, when the country was closed down, nobody could walk out. It was a total curfew, day and night. Nobody out, nobody. So, and the grapes were mature, were ready for harvest, and we couldn't touch them. So
Oh, goodness me.
I managed to talk to ministers, to government entities, officials, and finally I managed, with my contacts, with people in the government, to have a permit for the exporters to be able to harvest. And then I managed to extend or get an extension of that permit for all the Pisco producers, which we are about, I guess there's about 580 denomination of origins registered. So there's a lot of distilleries out there. So we managed to save the harvest and the production of Pisco this year. And Piscos, I'm tasting them now. They send them to me here. I'm tasting them now, and they are absolutely wonderful. Really, very, very good.
Okay,
Honestly.
so you had a good vintage?
We had, I think 2020 is going to be a fantastic vintage. Very good.
Johnny, looking at the history of Pisco, I mean, you mentioned already La Caravedo is one of the oldest or the oldest working distillery in Southern America. What's the history of Pisco? Is there a clear history, or is it
Yes,
depending
yes.
on the country you look at?
In spite of all, Arthur, in spite of all the conflict, historical conflict, Peru has all the documents to sustain that Pisco is a Quechua word. Quechua is one of the three official languages in Peru. Quechua, Aymara, and Spanish, apart from the 14 or 18 languages spoken in the deep Amazon jungle. In Quechua, the word Pisco means, well, it's upside down over there. Pisco means bird. The Incas had an ethnic group of the Incas that lived in the valley of La Condor, which is not far from here, because I'm only about 20 kilometers from the state of Ica, right? I'm still in Lima,
Okay,
but
yeah.
the state of Ica is only about 30 kilometers south of here. And the word Pisco named a river, Rio Pisco, named an ethnic group 2,000 years ago, the
I
Piscos,
see.
that gave the name to a river, Rio Pisco, to a valley, el Valle de Pisco, to a village, Pisco Pueblo, to a port, Puerto de Pisco, and like champagne, like port, like cognac, the distilled spirit exported from that port took the name from the port, right?
Great.
Pisco. And the city of Pisco was founded in 1571. The
Unbelievable.
town of Pisco in Chile was founded in 1936. So I
Great.
allow history to take care of the argument. All right? Period.
Okay.
End of discussion.
So
Sorry.
not yet, not yet, not yet.
No, the end of discussion is not going to stop.
I mean, you and me, we both know how problematic that definition of Pisco can be.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are two countries claiming being the birthplace of Pisco. And obviously, you just told us how everything has been invented and when it has been invented. So there is a clear definition on Pisco in Peru. And I mean, you told me that more than once. It's a very strict definition of a spirit.
Yes. Yeah. We have a denomination of origin that, for instance, one of the problems I'm having right now is I wanted to make an overproof Pisco, right? Because I can cut it higher than 43. The norm allows me to go to 48. But I wanted to make, and I have it, I've done it. I cut it at 55% alcohol. Beautiful, Arthur. You have to taste that. It is magic. I mean, it's really something wonderful against the norm. It cannot be called Pisco, because it's between 38 and 48 is the norm. Anything above 48 cannot be called Pisco. Anything below 48 cannot be called Pisco. 38 cannot be called Pisco. I think it's absurd, because it is Pisco grapes. It is inside the geographic denomination of origin. It is with traditional copper pot alembics. It's only distilled once. Pisco all the way. The only thing is I cut it higher. Period. So I
Okay.
can't call it Pisco. And that's the reason, Arthur, that I cannot make gin. Because the norm says that you cannot produce another spirit on the only Pisco.
Okay. So
So
it's
for three or
dependent
four
on the
months,
pot.
the 4 months, the distillery works, and 8 months, chiuso, fertig,
Silent.
closed.
Yeah, silent.
Absurd. And we have a
But
big, huge investment.
you would be allowed to distill the gin if you have a separate still, not
No,
being you.
a separate building.
No, a
Separate
separate
building.
building.
Physically, it has to be separate.
Oh goodness me. Okay, so I presume there won't be a gin soon.
I'm working on it.
Okay, so you told us quite strict regulations, and as
Yeah.
far as I know, it's not allowed to dilute Pisco with water. So you have to get to that drinking strength through the
Distill
distillation
to proof.
process.
Distill to proof. Yeah.
Distill to proof.
The singularities, Arthur, from Pisco, and I would say pretty much every other spirit that we taste in the concours, is, I would say, four elements that are very important. First, that we're made from freshly distilled freshly distilled wine, not a finished wine as a Cabernet Sauvignon, a wine that you can sell to a drink, but fermentation finished today at 12 o'clock. At 1 o'clock, I'm distilling, right? So it's
Okay.
freshly distilled from freshly fermented. First definition. Second is that it has to be distilled to proof.
Has to be distilled to proof, and then he's been away. Let's see if he's getting back. Well, until he's back, hello to everybody. Great. Okay. Seems still he has some problems with the internet connection at his side. And he's gone again. Guys, I tried to get him back. Wait a second. Let's see if he's getting back.
This is terrible. I'm sorry about this, but we are in
Don't
Peru.
worry.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry.
That can also happen in Switzerland. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I had the same
it's a poor
problem last
connection.
week.
It's a poor connection down here, so I'm really sorry.
Don't worry, Johnny. Not an issue.
So I was talking about the
is,
differences. I was talking about the differences.
Yes,
First is
the last thing
it's made from
we heard.
distilled from wine, not from pomace. We're not a grappa, right? I'm not
Yes.
saying grappa is bad, but we're not a grappa, right?
Yes.
We're not Orujo de Galicia. We're not a Treston. We're not a Marc de Bourgogne. Yeah, we're closer to a cognac because we're distilled from wine, right? Second one is no water added, distilled to proof, because one distillation, no 2, 3, 4, 5 times distillation, right?
Yes.
My neighbors in the south can distill 2 or 3 times. We can only distill once. And in that one time, we have to hit the 38 to 48 proof, the alcohol, 96 proof. We have to reach the alcohol in one distillation because we cannot dilute by using of water. It's against the law. And last, we cannot put it into wood because we don't want to change the structure, nor the color, nor the flavor, nor the taste of nature. There is nothing added here. We only use natural wild yeast, no artificial yeast. We don't, nothing, right? So this, I always claim, is the cleanest spirit made. Because
Okay.
in this bottle of Porton, there's 16 to 18 kilos of grapes to make one bottle.
Unbelievable.
Right?
May I ask, do you ferment the juice including the skins, or is it just the pressed must?
You can do it. You can do it both ways.
Okay.
You can do it both ways. You can do it. What I do is something that has been forgotten from the traditional 200, 300-year-old way of making pisco is a pre-fermentation maceration.
Mm-hmm.
What I do is I leave it for 24 hours to macerate with the skins,
Yeah.
and then I just take the juice to ferment. Right?
I see.
Maceration at low temperature so I don't begin fermentation.
So you keep it on the skins for a
I
certain
leave it
time.
at low temperature with the skins, and then I sieve it and I pass it into the fermenting tanks. Fermentation
Okay.
takes about 7 days depending on the temperature.
I mean, in your distillery, you're using about 4 different grape varieties. Is that right?
I think I have 5. The most popular in
Okay.
Peru, there's 8 in the norm, right?
Yeah.
4 of them are considered low aromatics, and 4 are considered aromatics.
Yeah.
For me, they're all aromatics. Every grape has aromas. I mean,
Of course.
I don't know why it's
Absolutely.
complicated aromatics. But the most popular is Quebranta, Arthur. Quebranta is the original grape that the Spaniards brought as Negra Criolla from the Canary Islands, where it is called Listán Negra, which is the mission grape in California, which is the Negra Criolla or in Argentina, where they're beginning to make wines, which is the Chic Negra, I think, or Criolla in Chile. Here we call it Negra Criolla is one of them that did not mute. And Quebranta, which is the most popular, is a Negra Criolla that muted to the Ica climate, which is a desert, right?
Okay.
So it changed. What I'm drinking, and my favorite, is Negra Criolla, the original, the old one. But we have very,
Okay.
very little of that in our vineyard. What I have the most is Quebranta. I have Torontel, which is the aromatic. Torontel, I
Yeah.
think, is Moscato Tonel or Muscat. It's a white grape, very, very sweet. It's oval, almost yellow, burnt sun, almost brownish, gold brown. Then Italia, which is Moscato de Alejandría. And then
Okay. Yeah.
Moscatel, which is Muscat d'Hamburg. And what else I have? I have Albilla. Albilla is, I think, one is from Spain. It's the sweetest, a very small grape, but a very big bunch. And those are the ones I have. I've just and of course I have one that's called Italia Rosada, pink Italia, which is not in the
Okay.
norm, which is not allowed to make, so I can't call it Pisco. But it's the most beautiful Pisco I have, but it cannot be called Pisco. And it's
Oh,
the most
goodness me.
expensive Pisco I sell.
But so
Number
you're
five.
actively selling it?
Huh?
You're actively selling it?
I'm selling it. You can buy. If I sell it, when I have it ready, because I keep that a year and a half resting, because we're not going to put it in wood, so I keep it resting in stainless steel for a year and a half.
Okay.
And then when I'm ready to go to the market, I call the 3 or 4 big Pisco, big liquor stores, liquor distributors in Peru, and I says, okay, I have Italia Rosada. I have the first year, in the 10 years we're producing Pisco, I've only produced 3 years. I bottle that grape only the year that this nose considers it extraordinary.
So it
Number
must be a
bottles
special thing.
and very expensive.
Okay.
Because the first year, I think I had 820 bottles.
Yeah.
In 2012, 2014, 2016, number 2, I think I had about 1,200 bottles.
Okay.
2018, I had 2000 something bottles. And 2019, I'm not going to bottle. 2020, I'm tasting it now, is really superior. That's going to be number 4. So we only bottle those editions only when I think the year is fantastic. So I call these 4 distributors and I say, okay, I have so many bottles and the price is, and I sell it in 2 minutes. Boom.
Are they all hand signed?
All the
Hand signed? Do you sign the bottles?
Yeah, they're all signed, of course. Numbered, signed, special label, numbered with a huge number 1, number 2, number 3, outside in the bottle, right outside.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much a collector's item today. And everybody says, Johnny, where's your Italia Rosada? Hey, when are you coming out? But it only will be bottled if it's fantastic.
Fantastic. Okay. Right? So you gave us an overview on those 5 grape varieties you use. How many different types of Pisco can you make out of it?
Your question is very important, Arthur, because it's not like my neighbors in the south that only produce one type of Pisco, right? One type. We produce with those 8 grapes in 5 different regions that are under the geographical denomination. We produce 3 different types of Pisco.
Okay.
The most popular is Pisco Puro. Puro in Spanish means pure, but Pisco Puro in the Pisco language means that it's made when the wine goes into the still dry.
Okay.
Right? The yeast consumes
fully fermented.
All the sugar, and we take the wine dry, completely dry. 0 sugar left. 0, completely dry. Yeah?
Okay.
So to make a bottle of Pisco Puro, we need about, I would say, about 5 kilos of grapes, más o menos. The second type of Pisco is Mosto Verde.
That's the opposite.
Mosto Verde, we take, which are my favorite, of course, we take the wine semi-sweet with still about 5 degrees Brix of sugar in the wine, in the must, right? The wine. Semi-sweet wine. So we are wasting sugar because we're not efficient converting all the sugar into alcohol. We don't stop.
Yeah, but I'm sure there is a sense in it.
We don't stop fermentation, right?
Yeah.
We don't stop it. People say, "Oh, you stop fermentation." We don't stop fermentation. The tank is full of wine, it's fermenting. When it reaches about 5 degrees residual sugar, 5 degrees Brix, I open the valve, the wine fermenting. I take it to the still, and I make Mosto Verde. If I close the valve and let it go dry, then I take it to the still and make Pisco Puro, right?
I see.
But to make Mosto Verde, as I didn't convert all the sugar into alcohol, we need about a little over twice the amount of grapes. So we're talking 10, 12, 14 kilos of grapes to make the same bottle, right?
Wow.
And the third variety is the blend, and it's called acholado. You can acholar puros, or you can acholar Mosto Verdes. What you can't do is mix them. You can make an acholado of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different puro grapes, puro piscos, or you can make it from Mosto Verdes. And you can acholar, you can blend grapes before pressing, wine after fermenting, or pisco after distilling.
I see. Okay, so there's quite a lot of differentiations.
Varieties, tastes, flavors. It is it's a rainbow of aromas, of tastes, of qualities, of capacities. They're all good. They're not all good. Some of them are cut corners. Some of them cut corners. You've tasted them. We've tasted them in the Congo. Some of them are. But the 3 categories are fantastic, each on its own, right? But for me, Mosto Verde, which is the most expensive Pisco, is because it's made from a sweet wine. But in turn, that sweet wine gives you, first, more clarity. It shines like I mean, look at that. Look at that shine. Look at that, my big nose, Swiss nose, of course.
Of
Nobody
course.
knows that, or very few
Well,
people know.
I have it on my cheat sheet, so I wanted to come back to that. That Schuler is a Swiss name.
No, it's a Swiss name. No, it's a Swiss citizen.
You're also a Swiss citizen.
I
You
only
still
have
have
one
the passport,
passport.
and that's
Arthur, I only
Swiss.
have one passport, and it's Swiss all my life, since the
Okay,
day I was born. I am Swiss.
congratulations.
And
That's
people say, how can a Swiss in Peru be the leading expert in Pisco? So, so it's funny. It's funny. I see our friend, the king of rums, is watching us.
Rene was there, and he raised an eyebrow and said, "Wild fermentation," and 5 question marks. So fermentation is done without cultured yeast. It's all wild yeast.
In our case,
Yeah.
accepting the pre-fermentation, right? The 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 maceration, I
Yes.
do, because I don't want color. I'm not interested in color.
Yeah.
But my argument is that the aromatic structure of the fruit is in that little, it's like a mucose between the meat of the grape and the skin. Right inside there is where all the aromatics is. Because if I peel a grape and I put it in my mouth, first the juice is white, right?
Yes.
But the aromatic, the flavors, the aromas, the taste is in that little mucose, that little gelatin that separates the meat of the fruit from the skin of the fruit. So that's
Okay.
what I want to scratch with that maceration before fermenting.
Okay. Just because you raised the Swiss passport, you should say hello to some of the students. We started Monday, Tuesday with the Swiss Spirit Sommelier course, and a lot of them are watching right now. So
Well, Hopschwitz.
greetings from Hopschwitz. Definitely. May I raise a technical question, Johnny? I mean,
Yes.
you told us now the history. You told us which grape varieties you use and which types you make. And if a fruit distiller from Europe listens in here, I mean,
Crazy.
you absolutely, that's the point. You need to get to drinking strength by distillation, distill to the
Yeah.
point. How do you manage not having faints and especially fainty aromas in?
That is a serious question. Uh, we don't use any other equipment. We don't use temperature. We don't use bricks. Or we don't. What we have is an instrument that is very modern, but invented by God. It's called a nose. Right? We know that's our profession, and that's what we do, right? So
Yes.
where you have to be very careful, Arthur, is that the person that's running, because we have actually 3 different types of stills, all based. 2 of them are based in the Charentais, the copper pot still from Cognac, and have 2 Charentais stills. I have 3 German stills,
Right, you
pot
got some
stills, but
cal.
made in
Yeah,
Germany,
yeah.
and I have 3 Falcas. Falca is
Okay.
a primitive Peruvian still, pretty much like
It's
Alquitarra from Spain, from
yeah.
the Arab,
I mean, it's originally
where it
made
doesn't
from
have a
clay.
head. It
Yeah.
doesn't have a head or a swan's neck. The steam comes from the side. As soon as
Okay.
it begins to boil, out it goes
Okay.
into the cooler, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's no rectification at all. I
Okay.
like all my aromatics in Falca because they're not purified. Purified not in the sense that they're dirty, is that in the sense that I have not extracted all the aromas. Nothing.
I
I
see.
haven't extracted
Okay.
nothing. Right?
I see.
So it's more rustic, right?
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
chew it, you can bite into it, you can cut it with a knife, you know. It's something
I see.
right?
Well,
So
okay.
the different still. So what we have to do is we have to be the finger, put it into the spout that's coming out.
Yep.
When we're reaching the degree of alcohol we want, because we blend, there's a ore, like a boat's ore, that we're mixing what everything is in the pail that's coming out from the still. We're mixing it, and we're putting an alcohol limiter in there to measure the alcohol content.
Yep.
When it reaches, don't forget, the flow starts about 70 degrees, 70, 71, 70 degrees of alcohol. Very strong.
Yep.
And we cut it around 20, 21, 22. The blend will give me the 43 I want.
Yes.
But
And that's only
43
possible with grapes, huh? Grape is the only
portón.
fruit.
43 is important because Pisco La Carabedo is 40. Right? So you have to let it run a little bit more further down. Smell it before the tails come in.
Yeah.
And then you have to cut back. Because as soon as you have a little of that, you're done. It's like the heads also. The first, I would say, in a 3,000 liter pail of the still, the first 20 liters, the first, no, I would say 20, the first 10 liters or 15 liters are the heads.
Yes.
With a lot of methanol, right? A lot of oily, some green apple in there, but a little bit, not very nice. But there's an aroma of green apple because you walk
pungent.
by and it smells wonderful in the air. But when you put your finger in there and smell it, fusel, right? It's not very nice.
Yeah, it really itches.
Yeah, you get all the heavy oils, and then again, and that's the training of almost 450 years of history, where we know the faintest aroma, you turn the valve, and I stop production. I don't keep on distilling tails because I don't use them. I don't need them for anything. So I open the valve and then discard it.
Which gives me half of the next question, the answer of half of the next questions. You're not going back with either feints or heads. It's all cut.
Heads in some piscos, yes, especially in the aromatics, because I feel that if I put the head in the back, what I'm trying to do is to take that apple, the green apple, out of there, and then in the next batch, I will take the head. I will have the bad odors again over there. So I'm going to be jumping from one to the other until the last one, and then it's thrown away, right? Okay. What we do with heads is we keep them, heads and tails, if we have a little bit of tail, we keep it to clean the stills next year.
Before you go into production.
Yeah, we clean it with ash, lime, and heads and tails of previous year.
I see. Okay.
That's we rub the inside, everything with ashes.
First ashes.
With lime.
Yeah.
And with the Pisco from the year before. And that's how we prepare the still for the production of the year.
I see. Okay. I mean, what I tell always to my students is there are two countries producing Pisco. Only the Peruvian is the real stuff.
Thank you.
How well? I need to extend your job and tell them over here, what's the good stuff and what's the rest of it. So, how do you commonly drink Pisco? I mean, there is a trend now that you really sip it and drink it neat, but that's not always been the case.
Out of it. Yeah, I like. Depends on what I'm drinking, right? If I'm drinking, well, anyway, I have four different lines of products, right? Right now, I'm going for the Mosto Verde, which I'm almost running out of. I ran out of Mosto Verde, and well, I have a few bottles there still. I like to drink it neat, right? I think when you have a very, very good quality of Pisco, it's like a schnapps. It's like a Kirsch. It's like a very good Kirsch. It's like a very good. I don't know. It's a cognac. It's right. It's basically, Peruvians hate it when I say this, but it's an unaged, unwooded brandy.
Well, it is, yeah.
Yeah. But people here in Peru don't want to call it brandy. They say it's Pisco. It's a different
Yeah, yeah, sure.
category.
I know.
It is
I
a
know.
different category. But when people want to ask, what is tequila? Is it a vodka? Right?
No. Yeah.
No, right? So is Pisco a brandy? No, right?
Yeah.
But it is basically, fundamentally, structurally a brandy. Comes from grapes. So how do I drink it? My favorite drink is enjoy it neat.
Neat. Yep.
And you have, we produce, I think we have something like 23 different piscos in La Caravedo, in our distillery.
Hmm.
From the different grapes we produce. I purchase only 2 grapes and I produce 5, so I only make 7 of. There's 1 grape I don't use, and we make it. We make 7 Mostoverdes. We make so many acholados. We make so many puros. So I think, and then we have piscos at 43. We have piscos at 41, and we have piscos at 40. Tax purposes or whatever. And then we have piscos that we guard for a year and a half, piscos that we guard for a year, and piscos that we bottle 6 months after distillation, right? The lower keep, the lower. It's not aging; it's
Yep.
keeping, right? It's resting.
Well,
So,
it's an inert vessel. It's not oak.
but what is
It's
important for your
glass.
students, Arthur? What is
Pardon?
important for your students is the versatility of pisco, because I think honestly, it adds aromatics that vodka does not, right?
Well, of course. Yeah.
It adds no sugar that rum does,
Yep.
right? It adds no wood that cognac or any other brandy would, right? So it is, although it has a slight aromatic structure, what it does, it gives your cocktail complexity. It gives it structure. It gives it roundness, right? The
Yep.
most popular drink here is the pisco sour. Of course, that's the one that people love to drink, and it is the most popular Peruvian original cocktail. But
Yeah.
in there, uh, last night I made a Negroni, Pisco. I use your what it's called. It's not a Campari, a Swiss orange. In the bar, I can't see it from here. Well, it's like a Campari, a bitter, made in Switzerland.
Okay.
And then I use Carpano Antica
Yes.
to make Pisconi instead of a Negroni, right? And then Pisco and tonic, Pisco and
Of
ginger ale,
course. Of course. I mean, that's what we also
cheesecake.
push over here. Fruit
But then
brandies.
I would ask you to taste it in a Bloody Mary, and you're going to see the difference of what a vodka does or what a Pisco does, right?
Oh well, sure.
It is a classic with, I'm not copying, but then we have Capitan, which is a truck from back in the 1920s, which is an import from the Italian colony that came here to Peru. It's Pisco and vermouth, basically. Yeah. But it's not a copy. It's not a Manhattan. Right? It's called Capitan.
Yes.
Then the other one is the Chilcano. The Chilcano is a long drink, Pisco and ginger ale. Yeah, ginger is, and I put a slice of fresh ginger into it,
Yeah.
and that's maybe the most popular drink with the young generation here in Peru today.
Have
They
you ever
don't drink
tried
pisco
with
sours.
ginger
They
beer?
drink, they drink a long drink. It's a Chilcano,
Yeah.
Pisco and ginger ale, lime juice, and a drop of bitters.
Have you ever
Really,
tried it? Have you ever tried it with ginger beer instead of ginger ale?
oh, it's spectacular. My
Yeah.
partner, the man that put the big, my friend from Texas, who passed away a year ago, that's the only thing he drank.
Is
Ginger
it?
beer with Pisco. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Really like dark and stormy,
Yeah.
but made with Pisco. Yeah. So
would you share your recipe of the pisco sour, which is the signature drink of Pisco?
yeah, and the other day I was interviewed by the man here in Peru, Roberto Melendez, who's considered the Pisco Sour ambassador to the world, right?
Yeah.
And he asked me, he says, okay, Mr. Schuler, you and I are going to prepare my recipe of a Pisco Sour. I said, no, 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 no. This is before we were on the air. He says, because you're responsible for the amount of Pisco I put in my drink. I'm responsible because one day, 15, 17 years ago, I went into his bar and I said, I want the perfect Pisco Sour.
Hmm.
Let's start. Let's start with 1-1-1-1-2-1-1-2-2-2-1-1-3-1-1. Well, you can imagine how I finished, right? But that's where I got my doctorate in Pisco sours, right? my,
Okay.
my certification of authenticity. So I finished in very bad conditions. I had to call a taxi to get home, right? So, but my recipe, Arthur, here goes. The classic recipe in Peru is 3 of pisco, one of fresh lime juice, the African
Hmm.
lime, not the
Yeah.
yellow American lime.
No, no, the small
They're
green.
the small green African. uh, You have it in Europe. I've seen it in Europe.
Yeah, yeah.
Freshly squeezed, not with a machine, not with a presser, but with your hand. Because
Okay.
we don't want the oils of the skin
Hmm.
inside our pisco sour. All right? So first is the 3 measures or 3 ounces, whatever you want, but 3 ounces of pisco, 1 ounce of freshly squeezed lime juice, and 1 ounce of sugar syrup. Very easy to make at home. 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of water, boil it until you have the density you want,
Mm.
and you have it. Right? Very
Okay.
easy to make. Simple syrup. And then egg white. The
Okay.
sequence is, for instance, in one of my restaurants, we have to make it in a blender because we sell a couple of hundred pisco sours a day.
Mm.
So I can't have the barman be shaking. But at the Key Club, is a restaurant where we're going to go when you come down to Lima, which is my restaurant that specializes in lobster. It's
Yeah.
done with a shaker. Yeah? So
Okay.
what I do, there's a sequence to it. First, I put the ice, and I don't believe in a dry shake first. Some bartender said, "No, you have to dry shake." I don't believe in a dry shake. It's for pisco sour. So I put the ice in. I put the 3 measures. No, in my case, my personal case, I use 4 measures.
Okay.
I put 3 of quebranta, less aromatic, and
Hmm.
1 of the aromatic of moscatel, torontel, or Italia. One of the 3.
Okay.
3 of pisco puro, quebranta, and 1 of pisco torontel, aromatic.
Hmm.
Then I add the simple syrup. Then I add the lime juice. But in my case, instead of 1 of simple syrup, I use half an ounce of simple syrup because I like my pisco sour dry,
Okay.
very dry. Right? But Isabel Mijares, the taster in Spain, she doesn't like sugar at all.
Mm.
No simple syrup at all. Very, very dry. So it's 4 of pisco, 3 of quebranta, 1 of torontel, 1 of lime juice, half 1 for the European taste, 1 of simple syrup, just a little bit of a shake to mix those ingredients, then 1 egg white into the
Okay.
shaker,
Uh-huh.
and then shake the daylights out of it. Now,
Okay.
what you want in a pisco sour is just the width of my finger as foam. When I go to a bar in a restaurant in Lima and I get more than half of the glass of foam, I tell them, give this to your pastry chef. He can make meringue out of it. I want to drink pisco, right?
Yeah. Right. Definitely.
And then at the end, 1 drop, Arthur, 1 drop of bitters on top.
Okay.
I go to bars in the States that they throw bitters in there like, and then what I'm tasting is just aromatic bitters, right?
What is your favorite bitter? Orange bitter or
Well,
Angostura or?
no, I have Peugeot here, but for pisco sour, Angostura,
Hmm.
because I don't want to put orange aromas into what I already have lime. It's going to change, make me I don't know, tutti frutti sort of. So I put just one bitter in the center.
Yes.
Just the purpose of it for me is that you should neutralize the aroma of the egg whites,
Okay.
but don't change the structure of the pisco sour. My wife drinks a pisco sour without bitters
Mm.
because she loves pisco sour,
Yeah, sure.
not a bitter sour, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny, 50 minutes. We are close to the end.
Arthur,
2 questions left, Johnny. One, is your Pisco already available in Switzerland or still
I
only in
think we
Germany?
are. I think it's in Germany. It's in Italy. Our biggest distributor today is right in Italy. We had a little bit of a problems with France, but it's in Italy right now. Switzerland just ordered. We just had a new contact, and he's ordered a pallet. I think we're sending it maybe in. Oh, I think it already left. I haven't checked.
Okay.
But there's one pallet on its way to Switzerland.
Okay. Do you know
Someday,
with
whenever I find out, I don't have it here. I don't have the information.
yeah,
Who the guy is? But
you tell me.
but it's in Europe. It's in England. It's in France. It's in Germany. It's in Spain. It's in Portugal. Where are we else? In Italy, of course, big. I don't know how, but we're big in Italy. Gloria is doing
Okay.
a fantastic job over there. She's very, very good. And being a grappa market. So, but we're doing good. We're doing good. Slowly. It's not huge. Our biggest market, believe it or not, is the United States and Chile.
Well, United States, obviously, and
And Chile.
Chile, quite surprising.
Quite,
But
yeah.
they also want good stuff.
Well, but 30% of Peru's production goes to Chile, huh?
I can believe, and about 80% of Chile's production goes abroad to Europe for
To
blend
Europe,
cocktails.
but not to here.
No, sure not,
No.
sure
No,
not.
but there's a problem there. The difference is because they dilute with water, and it's evidently they can distill twice, so they're more efficient at their costs. We cannot lower our costs, right?
I just saw a director of degustation joined our little video chat. He's the guy that runs the tasting for Internationaler Spirituosenwettbewerb in Germany. We just had the
Yeah.
tasting last week. And if he's watching, Christian, maybe you want to invite him once. He's a legend and he's very well, a very good competition judge. So,
Very good.
so obviously, let's see. Future plans, Johnny. What are your future plans?
Well, of course, I plan to we planted 5 more acres of Italia this year, Italia grape, Muscat d'Alexandrie. I've planted 2 more hectares of Negra Criolla, and I've
Yes.
planted 2 more hectares of Italia Rosada, of course. We are working in right now in ready to drink pisco sours made from lime, pisco sour made from maracuya, passion fruit, canned
Okay.
in cans, shake and drink, keep it in the cooler,
Mm-hmm,
shake and
mm-hmm.
drink, ready to drinks. We're working on that. We just bought a small bottling plant. As I said, we cannot work. I cannot make him a gin at La Caravedo, so I'm looking at ways to get around
How
that,
to?
right?
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know if you've tasted Peruvian gins already made here. Ginca, 14 Incas. There's 4 or 5 gins already in the
Okay.
market here in Peru. So I started talking too early, and everybody jumped into the wagon. So, but in La Caravedo, we're going to turn the Hacienda House into a luxury hotel. We have a beautiful luxury Hacienda House.
Mm-hmm.
28 bedrooms with marble, television, everything. The works, swimming pool, gymnasium, the works, which was privately used for us, but now it's going to be a hotel. So I'm
Yeah.
working on that. During the pandemic, we're trying to fix that. In the matter of production, I tried a small white wine 2 years ago. My first experience. I'm not a winemaker, but it was not bad. So, but I put it aside because I cannot make wine, right? According to the norm. So working on that. As a matter of fact, I just bought three from our friend Emmanuel from La Tonnellerie, and remember the German,
Yeah, yeah.
the French guy that comes and gives us speeches on the barrels.
Okay.
I just bought 3 barrels of Sauterne, empty barrels of Sauterne wine, Premier
Yeah.
Grand Cru Classé,
I see.
and I'm going to put Pisco in there, and I'm going to leave it in there 3 years. And I'm
Okay.
going to
And
come out
then,
with something, a Pisco, 3 years in Sauterne, first Premier Grand Cru Classé
yeah.
barrel. Now I'm trying to find out if I can get a barrel of Pedro Jimenez from Jerez to turn into a sweet, very sweet brandy. So I'm playing around with it. Again, I cannot do it inside the distillery. I have to do it outside. I have to have the barrels in the house, I don't know, in the garage, somewhere where it's not caught. And of course, increasing production. Our sales are beginning to pick up, although bars and restaurants are still closed in Lima, in Peru.
Mhm.
We're doing a lot of delivery, which is good. We're allowed to deliver, takeout. We can do
Okay.
that. So that's picking up very well. But I'm very happy. More plantation, more vineyards, increase the production of Pisco. We're winning medals all over the place. We just won. I got your message. We just won one very important in Japan. For the first time, a Peruvian Pisco is awarded in the whiskey and spirits competition of Japan, a
Wow.
silver medal. So for me, very important. It's an honor. We found this new distributor in Japan. He's a friend. He's a man in Japan with energy, with a lot of passion, and he loves our products. Right. So we're sending him quite a selection of Piscos. Very good. It's coming up. And as you said, when we begin to travel again, I think I'm not going to make it to the Concours this year because in August I am not going to leave. I'm going to stay here maybe until the end of September, if not October.
Okay.
Not going out. I'm staying in.
Mm,
I'm not moving. Just because there's too much contamination outside. But
I see. Well, we keep in touch. Thanks very, very much for your time.
always.
It's been a
No,
pleasure,
on the
Johnny.
contrary, anytime you want. And thank
And
you for the invitation, Arthur.
looking forward to seeing you very, very soon again.
You too. And don't forget, whenever we have come, we still have an invitation pending over here. Huh?
Absolutely. It's on my list,
Okay.
and as soon
Because
as I get
I
close.
need also your expertise and your nose.
Okay. Looking forward to it. Thanks very,
All
very
right.
much. And
Thanks to
have a good
everybody.
time.
Thank you. My
Bye
daughter
bye.
wasn't there. Thank you, everybody. Okay. Thanks a lot. Ciao.